Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the XWF Podcast with your host, Chronic Chris Page, them no good bastards, Thunder Knuckles, Bobby Bourbon, and yes, if available, Bearded War Pig. And the action starts now.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the XWF Podcast. A very special episode of the XWF Podcast, I should say. Today, we're going to take a long look back at probably one of the most storied rivalries in the Fed's history. Joining me today, Bobby Bourbon. What's going on, brother? How are you, sir?
I'm pretty good. I'm actually kind of curious. When are we going to do an episode of the podcast that is not very special? I want, we've been doing all these special podcasts. Everyone has been special so far. Can't we do one that's just bland, where we just like sit here and there's just nothing but dead air and we're boring?
Well, then we would be doing a show on Ned Kaye.
Oh, that's too soon.
Oh, too soon?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Speaking of Ned Kaye, he is joining us today as a co-host. Hey, Ned, brother. How are you, sir?
The professor is here. I was about to say, I was going to be offended if the bland episode wasn't me, for Christ's sakes.
How's life been treating you?
Difficultly, but I'm getting over it, It's good to be back on the podcast.
Good to have you back, man. Like, you definitely turned some heads with your eggs in a nest nonsense, but we're since past that. Bobby and Ned, like, today we're kind of talking about the rivalry between Gator and Doc. Arguably two of the top tier talents that the Fed's ever seen. Both of them have got a lengthy history within the Fed itself. So, Bobby, I'm going to come over to you first. When do you first remember seeing Gator and or Doc when you came into the Fed?
Well, right when I came in, they were the top of the card. They were headlining. I first came in, it was like May of 2015. I was doing my little thing and goofing off and, potentially challenging for the Intercontinental Championship, which has since been retired. And then at my very first Relentless, I want to say that the main event was Doc and Gator and Vinny. So, they've always been, some guys that, out of character. I didn't really talk with them much back then, but I definitely looked up to their writing and their style. I think Gator was always hilarious. Doc was always super just intense. And I tried to take away, a couple of things from both. Just to reiterate, Doc and Gator have been just stalwarts for the XWF brand for a long time. And they've definitely set a standard that I try to follow, and I think a lot of us do.
No doubt. It's going to be a really good show. Let's go ahead and bring these guys in. First, from across the pond, the one, the only, you know him as Dick Powers, Noah Jackson, and or the legend that is Gator. Welcome, sir. How are you? I know it's late where you're at, man. We appreciate you, stepping in and doing this at 1 o'clock in the morning, your time. And fun fact, you were actually recording and will be editing the show.
Yeah, that's right. Fuck you, TK. No, I'm joking. I love him. Thank you. That was a really nice intro. Like, I was kind of blown away with what Rebby said. But yeah, really excited to do this. Really happy to be here. Looking forward to talk about our stupid history together.
The other person to this equation, kind of the yin to your yang, the one and only Doc, man. Welcome back to the show, and thank you for taking the time tonight to chat about this rivalry.
Howdy.
Howdy. And we're gonna get rocking and rolling here. First, before we get started, let's you said fuck TK. TK wanted to be on the show. Work still kicking him in the nuts. So with his blessing, we're handling this and locking this one down, and he is here in spirit, no doubt. Gator, let's come to you first, man. You came to the XWF and was already kind of rocking and rolling when Doc got into the equation. So, what was the landscape in the Fed like when you came in initially?
Back in like 24, I can't remember the month I started. It was like early 2014 when I first came in, and it's kind of weird because it was kind of, I think the Fed was kind of like at a turning point then, because it's like kind of losing a lot of his older members but getting a lot of like brand new people in. So it was very strange, and it was my first Fed ever, so I'm not used to how E-Feds work at all. And I came in and I wrote dog shit RPs for a bit and finally found my footing. And yeah, everything just kind of evened out, but it's probably, apart from maybe now, it's 2014 was like the biggest the Fed's ever been, I would say.
At what point, at what point do you come into the equation? And where's Gator at on the card?
I don't remember when Gator won the TV title, but I was on, I think, 3 March Madnesses before I fought Gator.
Hey guys, Gator here. Before we continue, I just want to bring up like a few little things. A couple of hiccups in this episode. So one, Doc calls Monday Night Madness March Madness. Easy mistake to make. I say that Drew Archive was part of Defiance. He wasn't. I don't know why I said that. Carvus was part of Defiance, not Drew. A little later on in the episode, we're talking about who helped us out and like who inspired us and so on and so forth. And I forget to mention Theo Price, who basically without him I wouldn't be here. So I feel bad for missing him out. And then for some reason later on, the word plonker is brought up, and I say it's like relative to bastard. It's not. It's closer to dickhead or a person acting silly, and I don't know why I said bastard. I blame whiskey. Alright, enjoy the episode.
He was my 4th match, so I showed up like in early August, and was there for 4 weeks. So he won the TV title at some point there, whether it was at Relentless, because that was at the end of the month. I fought him right after that.
You come in, Gator. Was Doc on your radar when he first came into the Fed? Before we get into like the meat and potatoes of what grew into arguably one of the better rivalries in the history.
Doc came in, and I think everyone was kind of scared of him a little bit, because usually when a new guy comes in, they kind of have to adjust to the style of the XDF a little bit. But Doc just came in and wrote killer stories off the bat, and I think everyone was kind of worried about him, kind of knew that he was going to be like a future Universal Champion like sooner or later as well. So yeah, it was definitely on my radar.
How did the Bobby? You were around in the mix here. So from your perspective, Gators has won the TV championship and Doc's come into the Fed. You're kind of doing your own thing. Is there anything that you can remember back then?
Honestly, what I remember back then is a lot of my own personal history.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember that Doc and Gator were the big time. They were the tippy top, and feeling kind of distant from them. Like I was just now getting back into e-fedding. I had done it in damn near 15 years. The last time I did it, I was, Ned's age, younger than Ned. And, I was just dabbling in it just to get my feet wet. And I was really more focused on, facing other people and feuding with other people. But they were definitely the tippy top. Like I said, I definitely remember reading their work and reading their matches and just being like, okay, this is where we need to get someday if you want to like keep doing this. This is this is the main event. You know, if you get good at playing this game, you're going to start doing what these guys do.
Ned, we'll come to you in a minute when we get to some more of the more current stuff. And like I said, if you've got anything, Ned, chime in at any point. Let's get to the first time that you guys cross paths. It's for the TV championship, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
How did that match come about? Either one of you remember? Was it just a spot booking, or was there something that led to it?
I fought in my first match was a over the top rope, top 3 battle royal. I won that. And then my second match was a battle royal, and the winner of that was granted either a title shot, just a title shot, and then I had a tag team match. And the winners of that, I don't know. The TV title shot was in the mix in there somewhere between those first 3 battle royals that I was in.
And that leads us to the first dance. So
Yes.
Gator, you're coming in defending the TV championship.
Mm-hmm.
What do you remember about that initial confrontation?
Well, I remember because this was back when the TV title rules were easier for the champion to defend. So like back then, it was like the challenger could only do 1 RP a day, but the champion could do 2 RPs a day. So I came in to the match and I was like, well, it's just another defense. And I did my like 2 RPs, and then I saw Doc's 1 RP, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna lose, because Doc's Doc. He's always been good, and he was kind of scary to go up against, because like this was like my proper like first like kind of challenge that I remember being TV champion. Not to like shit on anyone else before that, but yeah, Doc came in with a head full of steam, like wrote some really solid stuff, and I was a bit worried. Yeah, I gotta say.
Doc, give me your perspective.
Well, like he said, I come in pretty hot. Just turn a lot of heads. It was a lot of fun at first there to, kind of be something new. And like I said, it just happened kind of quick, just 4 matches, and I just kind of role played against a lot of people in those couple of weeks, just because, I said the first couple were battle royals. And then I was in a big tag team match. I think there was at least 4 teams in that, or 3. I can't remember. But going into the match, Gator was really active too. Like I said, he was TV champ, just won the title, and it was all over the boards. It was funnier than hell, and I was really serious. Tried to write a certain way. Really, I had a lot of rules back then. Like, I stuck to them really hard, and I almost felt at a disadvantage because Gator just abused every freedom that he had, because he could. That was his character and everything. So it was my first intense matchup in the XWF. It was a lot of fun, and that's what started it all,
And who left with the championship?
Gator.
Yeah,
Gator
baby.
successfully retained.
The only win I've ever got over Doc. Yeah.
Ned, let me come to you real quick, because you're sitting back and you're listening to all this, and you're the professor, and I'm sure that you've got some questions just based off of this first initial encounter between Doc and Gator.
Oh, you know it. My first question immediately, just to each, starting with Gator, is how did you feel personally about the writing style of Doc at the time? Because you said, like, holy shit, he's going to beat me. And even though you were able to come out on top, obviously something, just impressed you a lot. So I'm curious if you can articulate a little of your first impressions from back then.
That's a good question. Doc back then, he had like a really, really good like storyline going. That didn't stick around too long. Oh god, you had like a private investigator following you around. Do you remember? Like, do you remember that, Doc?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love that as well. And so, like, looking around at the other people at the time, their stories were just basically about them, like day to day, kind of like doing stuff, having wacky adventures. So it was like half that, and then it was half trash talk, and then that was basically it. That was just like the formula of the XWF. And then Doc comes in with just these like monumental stories that just go in like so many different ways and different routes and have so much like meaning and metaphors behind them, and it just literally blew me away. Like it helped me become a bit of a better writer just reading Doc stuff as well, because like Doc loves his like his metaphors, and I stole that a bit as like, I had hidden meanings behind my stuff from that point on as well. So yeah, it was just impressive to see. I just didn't see anyone else who wrote that way and wrote that well.
So to kick it over to Doc, I do want to ask essentially the same question, but I want to bring up something that I think was interesting about your previous answer to Chris. And that was that you were talking about how you followed a lot of rules, and it seemed like your role plays were a bit more structured, and you seem to see Gators as a bit more free flowing, free form, just a lot less of that structure that you were sticking to. So I'm curious if you could elaborate on those impressions.
Well, it wasn't so much rules on, say, like roleplay structure or anything like that. More so rules of my character. Like, in the beginning, Doc, I didn't have him swear. I've really stuck to like his gimmick at the time, which was is a psychiatrist, and like almost like a Southern descent, and I like how Gator said I had like a private investigator follow me around everywhere. He was a character of his own that my story was essentially about. Not so much Doc, but Doc was more of a overshadowing that story. So that helped me with my rules because like the way I wrote the story, Doc was more of an essence. He was more just there, and I never had him drive. I never had him fly. I never had him do anything manipulative to the world. You know what I mean, or the environment. It was always Trevor. And I stuck with that. Those are my rules. Just, and anytime somebody wanted to use me or something like that, it's like, well, Doc drives a golf cart into this, somebody's car or something like that. I'm like, have something similar to that happen, just not that, And
Okay.
with like Gator, like it seemed like he could really, like Gator was always known for his trash talk, and like take the featherweight title for example, back in the day where you have your trash talkers, and then like I can never win that damn thing with Doc for the life of me. I've won him with other characters, but never. I think once with Doc, maybe. But with trash talk, you almost have to have freedom. If you're a good guy, you can't just F-bomb somebody the whole time and call him a dick and go on with your day. As a good guy, you have to again follow rules too, in that sort of way.
Bobby Bourbon.
Yes.
Going into this first defense and this first matchup, is there anything that you can remember when you were kicking around back then?
No, precious little. I do apologize.
No, you're fine, man. I just think that the perspective from all angles, even what little you can remember being back in that time, is from an outsider's perspective is always good to have and good to see when it's there. So don't apologize for it. We're talking about something that's 7 years ago, 8 years ago. When we transition to get through the TV title, Gator retains. Where do we go from here?
The King of the Ring tournament, is it?
Yes.
Yes, that was on a Monday. That was just one or two shows on Monday Madness.
Yeah, that was Monday Madness. I think it was a two-parter. I don't know if it was one show. I think it was hosted 2 different days.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
Tournament was one night.
How many people were involved in the tournament?
Oh God.
I had it up before, but I just wrote down our rounds.
Probably say 8 to 12, maybe.
No,
No.
because the first round had 3 people in each match,
Oh shit! Yeah.
and let's say there was 4 brackets, so 12. Well, I suppose in one night, yeah, I suppose 12 people.
Side note, I am drinking with Gator tonight, so if we go off the rails in advance, I do apologize. Get to this obviously it's a one night or a 2-night tournament. How does that shake? Doc, let me go from your perspective first. How do your rounds play out, and then Gator will come over to you.
All right. Well, my first round, I fought Lucifer Cage and Lucius Fire in a triple threat match, and advanced to round 2, where I fought Gator and won by forfeit. And then in the third round, I fought Tony Santos and advanced from there to the finals, where I fought Frodo Smackins for the King of the Ring.
Did you end up taking the tournament?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, no, hey, I'm just
Those
asking,
common
brother.
knowledge, man. Sorry.
Oh, my fault. I forgot who the fuck I was talking to.
My bad.
Gator, yes, your tournament.
Fuck,
How
man,
does it shake, and what leads to the forfeit?
Yeah, so I just got it up here. So the first round, I beat 2 people called Jet Frost and Spike Hannigan. I'm pretty sure that was a no-show from both of them, if I remember. And then second round, going up against Doc, and a few things going through my head on the second round. It's like, one, I've got a TV title match like the same week, so I'm already kind of busy. 2, Doc should have won the King of the Ring tournament no matter what anyway. I kind of wanted our rematch to be a bit more special because we started building like the rivalry and feud between then. And lastly, I'm pretty sure I was just scared to lose against Doc, so I just pussied out of the match. So yeah, I just decided to PM like one of the GMs or someone saying, can my RPs count towards Doc's to go on into the tournament? And they said, yeah, sure. And that's what happened. And I just forfeited the match and let Doc carry on.
So,
Even shook hands.
question, because as you were talking, one thing that rung out was you're starting to build your story and the storyline. What were you guys working on back then at this time? And how much time was there from the TV title defense to the March tournament or the King of the Ring tournament?
King of the Ring tournament was in November.
So only a couple of months, really. Like not long, not much time at all.
September,
Were
November.
you guys already kind of working a story, or it's still just kind of
Working a story.
telling a story? Were you trying to?
I love
were
how
you guys already like?
I love how Chris Page thinks that everyone thinks like Chris Page. Like,
Yeah.
like no, it just like it just happened naturally, really, didn't it? Like we basically flirted on the boards until something big happened.
Along with
Right, so
Lane, along with Harrison.
Oh yeah, good guy.
Bobby, were you around when this March tournament went down?
No, this happened just before I showed it.
Got you. So we get through this tournament deal, and where do we head to next?
Well, in the meantime, I became Extreme Champ.
Oh shit!
I can't remember if I was Extreme Champ during the tournament or not. It was either right before or right after. Let me look. Yeah, right after. I won the Extreme title in December.
Am I seeing a briefcase?
Oh, yeah. Gator was having a match with the higher power, Morbid Angel.
Mm-hmm.
He was the leader of the Asylum, basically ran by Hysteria. And they named Morbid Angel the higher power as he was Universal Champion. Well, Gator won. And as he was celebrating, Hysteria and like 20 members of the Asylum come out, which were pretty much, I think, a bunch of made-up names or a bunch of people that weren't in the Fed anymore. But they were supposed to be like zombies. They weren't supposed to be anything, you know what I mean? So they surrounded the ring. Hysteria revealed himself to be L.H. Harrison, turned on Morbid Angel. That's when Doc come out. And like in the meantime, Gator got mauled by the Asylum. Doc come out, cashed in. Him and Gator had a match. And Doc walked away as Universal Champion.
You dick!
Right.
God, you pulled an alias. I feel that one in my bones. I'm legit only saying that because the motherfucker's listening in. Gator, man. So we get this cash in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that sounds like it was. First of all, Doc, before I come to you, Doc. So when you cashed in, you kind of picked the bones, so to speak. Were you a part of this faction, or revealed as part of this faction, or was that just something that you just took advantage of at the time?
I was the higher power.
The entire time. So perfect.
It was me all along.
It was me.
That's
It was me, Gator.
Oh, son of a bitch.
That's some really good storytelling. Gator,
Gator's comment at the end of the show there. Something about, Doc's work with L.H. Harrison now, how unsarcastically obvious or something.
I was just being a prick.
Yeah.
He's a little... Now, Gator, did you see the cash in coming, or when you got through Morbid? What was your thought? Where was your head at?
All right, just before we get to the cash in, I might as well talk about the Asylum just a little bit. So, so I was still like TV champion. I was TV champion forever. And then they finally retired the TV title, and then it's got the shot with the Universal shot against Morbid, and the entire time up to that point, I was feuding with the Asylum. I was just going through every single one of the lower members. The only ones until they fight with Morbid, the only ones I had left, which I thought were Hysteria and Morbid Angel, because I beat the other main players anyway, and I knew Doc had the briefcase, but honestly, I didn't think he was going to cash in. I thought he was going to be a gentleman about it and not be a dirty little slut about it.
Because that's who Doc is, not
Exactly.
Go on.
And because me and Doc had the rivalry and the feud, and we always had it, but we were also kind of frenemies. We were in a band together, and I didn't really expect it. When the cash in happened, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense now. But I was in a team called Defiance as well at the time with Drew Arkyle and Just Insane. And I was like, oh, okay, cash-ins happen. That's fair. Just Insane was the angriest man I've ever met in my life about that cash-in. He was flipping out for me, so, yeah. It was funny. It was really funny.
So it's safe to say that the cash in kind of heated things up. I'll be coming back around to you. Do you remember anything about this, or were you still on hiatus?
Still on hiatus.
Is there anything from your perspective like you wanna ask about how this cash in came about, or anything?
I'm busy listening.
Okay,
A
cool.
lot of this I'm just absorbing right now and just taking in the history. I don't want to jump in and add a perspective or anything because I think I would water it down.
I really like the story development off of the cash in because I think that it takes the rivalry to a completely different level. Ned, so now we've listened in and we've went from the TV title, we've gotten through their King of the Ring tournament to now this briefcase cash in. I'm begging to hear your perspective.
Well, there is one thing I do want to ask a little before I want to ask about all that and get a few more questions. And it's how I'll start with Doc this time around. And as we all know, the landscape of the Fed over the 20 years of history, I believe it's technically 22 years of history, is going to change a lot over time. So around the time of the cash-in, you're bringing up teams that you guys were a part of, different kind of angles that were going on in the background, feelings of other roster members. I'm curious to hear how you feel about Doc's place in the Fed around that time period when the cash-in occurred.
Like Doc's place? What do you mean?
Like his general role or where you saw him fitting in, where in the main event scene, just maybe a little on when it comes to segments or just how he was portrayed in the role plays?
he was kind of a overshadowing, ominous figure, kind of like never really put himself out there. He would get attacked all the time. At the end of every match, he'd get attacked. And I'd probably fight the guy the next week. So after the King of the Ring, I think Brock Lesnar attacked me, and I kicked his ass the following Madness. And then, see, I was still fairly new then, even. So it's not that it's hard to really have a place. Like I was still felt like I was still kind of rising up, still learning the game. I was just Extreme Champion, and that was one of the craziest times. A lot of people tried getting that belt off of me. There was that, and that's when you could have weird cash-ins. I think cash-ins are weird now. Holy fuck! There's some malicious, vicious cash-ins back in the day.
Right. Yeah.
You had to beat code. That's, how the fuck do I do this? This is bullshit.
If I can hone in on one other question I have, if there's much of a story to it, is there any particular way that you came about being the true higher power, or if I can, Howard power?
I'll admit, a lot of that story and a lot of that shit happening was a lot of Rhett thinking, LH Harrison hysteria. It was his. I mean, I had a lot to do with it, obviously, but I mean, the asylum idea was his idea. The army was his idea. The higher power idea was his idea. I mean, you should be my higher power, and then we just manipulated our story, built the story together, and so he deserves a lot of credit for that too. He should come back.
He should come back. 100%.
And just to fuck around a little bit. What's going to hurt? Join Anarchy. You have time for Anarchy, man. Come on. Write a roleplay when you're taking a shit.
He's too busy directing fucking Clue or whatever. He's doing fucking stage shows now. He's too big for XWF.
Yeah, apparently.
Now, if I could go to Gator, who you were, from all accounts, more established than Doc at the time, especially with your legendary TV title run. So I'm curious how you felt Gator, the character, kind of fit into the Fed at the time, and maybe a few of your thoughts on how that angle with Asylum was working out.
Well, I've always like seen Gator as like just a like mid carder, like hot top of the mid card, flirts from the main event every so often. And with the TV title run shit, I was like king of the mid carders, basically, like a bit of like a gatekeeper in a way. Like if you wanted to go to the main event, you had to get through Gator in a way. And yeah, that's just his place because I just kept hold of the TV title. I didn't like really get rid of it until they took it off me. So that was really my place then. And with the Asylum stuff, I can't even remember what kicked it off of me disliking him. But yeah, I think I took like a very short hiatus, and like on my first day back, my first week back, I challenged two people that were in Asylum to a 2-on-1 last man standing match, and I managed to beat them. And then I managed to get through like 2 more of them, and I was like, well, I might as well just keep working my way up until I get rid of them, because I didn't like what they were doing at the time.
So a lot of kind of happy coincidences, occurred leading up to this moment.
Yeah.
And it worked out for the best because we're sitting here, chit-chatting about it however many years later, because it's just such a great and storied feud.
I think that's what's really good about it, because like you can plan a feud, you can plan a rivalry, and it can go really, really well. I mean, look at Page and Main, like that's a great feud. But I think what really kind of like made me and Doc is that neither of us talked to each other about it, neither of us planned anything. It just happened spontaneously at random, and because of how neither of us knew what the other was doing, and it just happened like very spontaneously, it just popped off in a big way.
All right, I'm going to toss it back to Paige because I'm curious. I'm curious where he's going to bring us in the timeline. I have a few ideas, but I want to see where Chris wants to go.
The initial place I want to go is when you cash in and you're the higher power. You're the Universal Champion. Talk to us about your your title run, and at what point do you and Gator intersect again? But while you're on this unititle deal, this unititle run, any key players or any defenses along the way before you get back around to Gator that strike out at you?
Well, actually, Lethal Lottery separates Gator and I the next time. So it's only like a week, really. A couple weeks. So.
Yeah, I wanted my rematch immediately.
So we're turning right back around.
I wasn't just the higher power. I wasn't just the uni champ. I was also king of the XWF and the Extreme Champion that night. So the Extreme title had to be taken from me and given to Justin Sane. So, yes, we did Lethal Lottery and then Gator versus Doc for the uni title. I think it was on March 16th. Like I said, I couldn't find the card for that. So
you cash in and like a legit, like a week later, you're defending the belt against Gator again?
It was the next March Madness.
Monday Madness, yeah.
Yeah, Monday Madness, sorry.
Yeah, immediately.
I think two Madnesses.
Gator, you're exercising your rematch.
Yep.
What's happening here?
I don't even know. I don't even know why I wanted it so quick. I guess in Gator's mind, he felt like he got cheated a bit, and he just wanted to get his moment back immediately, like after.
I can see that perspective though, because fast forward years later, as Tristan Slater, I was cashed in on, and I did the same thing. Like the first available show, want my rematch.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So I get it. I see where you're coming from on that. You exercise it immediately, I guess. And what happens here?
Well, we go to Monday Madness. We have Paul Heyman was running Monday Madness at the time. He had a special match type called Heyman's House of Horrors, which was basically an elimination chamber match, but the pods were filled with weapons instead of people, and it was like a big steel cage kind of contraption match. And I wrote it, and it's probably the best match I've ever wrote, if I say so myself anyway. And it was just like absolute bloodbath, just trying to, finish just not working immediately. Just both of us trying our best to actually beat the shit out of the other one. And the ending, Doc?
Did Morbid Angel show up?
Sebastian Duke.
Sebastian Duke. There it is. Yep. Knew some creepy old fucker.
Yeah.
So who's leaving with the championship?
Doc?
What? Yeah, Doc's leaving with the championship. Yeah. Doc defends.
Because Sebastian Duke popped out of a crate like a jack-in-the-box and whacked Gator with a steel chair or something. And I believe Doc hit the lobotomy and then got the win.
Cheesed again.
Cheesed again.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. So when you get through this match with Doc, like where's your head at? What are you thinking? You've exercised the rematch and now you've lost. So you think it's starting from the ground, working your way back up, or are you going right after him, balls to the wall? No.
It's honestly kind of sad because I think at that point was when I really run out of fuel for Gator, and I kind of just didn't have much else to write about him, and it's like I couldn't beat Doc, and that was basically it for the character then. And I think I moved on to Game Boy and Game Girl then for a bit, and just gave Gator a break until I could recharge the batteries on him.
Now that's something I can't comment on.
Yeah.
I think my first big profile match was Game Girl.
Yeah, that was at Relentless as well, if I remember correctly. Yeah. That's one thing that I'm always going to have over Doc. Doc can beat me any day of the week, but I always have the satisfaction that I invented Game Boy before he could.
Yep.
Doc,
I'm so jealous of that character.
Oh, go ahead.
I said I'm so jealous of that character.
It's a cult favorite from what I'm told. I'm gonna have to check out some of the work.
Beautiful.
When you retain over Gator here, where are you thinking? Where's your mind at?
Moving on. I defend when I'm asked to. I sat on that uni title. I was king of the world. I defended against the Mastermind, Vinnie Lane, Peter Gilmore. Come Relentless. It was the second Relentless, 2015. Gator come back and Vinnie Lane. And I wanted L.H. Harrison in the match, but he was not. And I forget what kind of match we had, but it was a hell of a match. I remember a lot of shit happening.
Yeah,
and that's when that's when Doc loses the uni title to Vinnie Lane.
Well, Gator, from your perspective, you take a hiatus, you go on break, obviously, and what leads to you coming back for the Relentless Showdown? And At what point does Vinny really get into the equation here? Because if memory serves, based off of prior conversations, this was kind of one of his breakout moments as well.
Yeah, yeah. I came back for the match really just because it was us four, LH Harrison included, even though he dropped out. Because not to sound big headed or anything, but like me, Doc, Vinny, and LH Harrison, in my opinion, were like the breakout stars of like the 2014, 2015 kind of period. So I came back just for that match. It kind of like an end of an era kind of match, I guess. And it was just a huge moment, and I wanted to be a part of it. And with Vinny, Vinny was always no matter what, Vinny was a fantastic writer. He was always hilarious, always had really good, strong stories as well. But by the time me and Doc were doing the single titles shit, Lane was part of the trios champion doing his own story, and then he was just a character alongside as well.
Wasn't he the first Hart champion? And he had a hell of a run with that.
I think he was, yeah. Yeah, I think.
I come across that, so
yeah,
I think him being part of that, and him having that title for so long.
Yeah, because that was the big thing as well, actually. Because I was more of a Madness guy. I think you were more of a Madness guy yourself.
Yes.
And Lane was always on Warfare, no matter what. So we just didn't cross paths for a long time.
Right. Yeah, he started getting into the picture there, and I fought him once before, I think, before I was Uni champ.
Yeah, I fought him twice before, during the TV title run and before Uni champ as well.
Yes. Right after I lost to you, I beat him.
Yeah. Usually how it goes.
Talk about a bounce back win.
Yeah, he started getting strong momentum and everything, started getting into the picture. We first fought when I defended the title against him at Bad Medicine. And that, I think, was a pay-per-view about Vinny Lane. Doc was a bad guy, and he was coming in to save the day. But he didn't.
Didn't work out that well, did it?
No.
On that night.
I had to finally validate it by fighting Peter Gilmore.
Well, Pete. Bobby, do you remember were you around when that triple threat took place?
Yes. Yeah, I do remember being around for that. I don't remember what I was doing at the time per se. I do remember their match. First Bad Medicine. I think I might have been. I forget what I was doing, but I do distinctly remember that and Peter being involved because he had to be every so often for some reason.
Ned Kaye, get a main event triple threat after all said and done. What are you thinking?
Well, it's very interesting because the kinds of people that I've had the opportunity to talk to over the years just about XWF history, which is something I take such joy in as a big comic book fan, just somebody who loves knowing that something's kind of bigger than my involvement or my viewership or reading. It's very intriguing to me that this is kind of the first time that the rise of Vinny Lane has been brought up in a conversation I've been lucky to be involved with. So, obviously, love the guy, great owner, wonderful owner. Don't fire me.
Don't worry about it. It won't happen again.
Okay. So, when it comes to that time, I guess what I have to ask, at least to Gator first, is you come back, you start, getting a little stronger with your own characters, and it felt kind of like an end of an era. And very recently, very close by that time, what moments, like what things going forward kind of bring that desire to have this feud keep going? Is it just circumstance again, or is it something you're like, I got to revisit this more? We have to, we can't just let this fizzle out or be staying in history.
Damn, that's a big question.
Right?
Drink a few more of them beers.
He's getting you back for that eggs and an
I
S
know, right?
nonsense
Yeah.
from the last shows.
Yeah.
I'm so whiskey drunk right now, and you're asking me this.
I'm sober and I got lost about midway.
The feud, I don't know. It's like, I mean, like back in the day, it was like, it's like an urge to win. Like I really wanted to win all the time, and then that kind of fizzled out, and it was like, oh, I'm a comedy writer. I just want to make people laugh and smile, and I want to do things to make people happy. And it's like, to me, it was more like a match between Vinny and Doc, and what was going to be Alex Harrison, but he couldn't make it for some sad reason. Like, that to me is just what people at the time really wanted to see. And if I wasn't a part of that, I wouldn't be giving people what they wanted. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make people happy. I wanted to have a good ending, basically.
I think we needed that match. It couldn't just be another Lane versus Doc, in my opinion. We needed Gator. We needed L.H. Harrison, but, having Gator, was good enough. But
yeah, having Gator there to take the pin so you'll still look good was a good idea.
Oh, that wasn't the idea behind it, but yes.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, no, but I mean, just as the magnitude of the match, they take the top guys, and that's what I wanted. What it was, the big blow off at Relentless.
Yeah, which was a big
Lane
pay-per-view for everybody.
Yeah, Lane winning the title was a good tie up to the story and a good way to go into the next chapter. You know what I mean? Yeah, Lane had a hell of a run too. Him fucking battling with Trax and shit. That was great.
Oh God, Trax! I wish he came back.
I know, right?
When we get through, when you get through Relentless and all the goings on within the Fed, and Lane's now got the championship. Gator, did you stick around, or was that just you just came back for that one match and you?
Yeah, Gator went away. I think I was still doing stuff with Game Boy and Game Girl for a little bit longer after that, but soon after that, I took a very long hiatus from e-fedding completely.
Is this where we circle around to last year's Relentless? The feud between Gator and Doc? Or so now rolling into our fifth match with you guys within the series, fifth or sixth match?
Fifth.
Fifth, yeah.
Fifth match, and you what better place, right, to circle back around with the story that's been told, starting with the TV title and Gator successfully retaining, to Doc going over in the King of the XWF or King of the Ring tournament, getting the briefcase, snatching Gator's moment away as Uni champion with the cash in. You would get to the triple threat, Relentless #2, and now we fast forward 5 years to Relentless 2020. I believe you guys were on night 3. Had to be on night 3.
Yeah,
there's no reason why that wouldn't be on night 3. Chat me up on this. What made you guys want to come full circle back to the biggest stage in the XWF?
Should I say what really happened, or like what?
Yeah, say what really happened. Might as well.
I was not really in the Fed leading up to Relentless. And I was approached by someone in management saying, "Hey, Unknown Soldier wants to have a match with you at Relentless." And I'm like, I don't know. So I kind of sat on it for a couple of weeks, they hit me up pretty early. I think into June. I sat on it for a while. Finally, had to make sure I could get the hankering again because it was a while. I can't remember how long, a couple of years maybe. But I always stayed in contact with everybody and kept up with everything. Finally, I decided I'd do it. Well, maybe the week or maybe 2 weeks before Unknown Soldier bailed. I'm like, okay, I still want to have a match. I don't want to sit out another month because I'll probably never come back then if I, have the, balls to come back now after watching Relentless, not having a match for another month. I'm not going to be interested by then. So, pitching about that to everybody, Gator steps forward and says, I'll fight you. But if you want to talk about it in the show and everything like that, I think it all started when Doc was inducted into the Hall of Legends. I think Gator and Doc crossed paths then.
Mm-hmm. It's just kind of again, no real planning. It was just another random circumstance, and magic kind of happened again, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it brings that nostalgic feel to it, and kind of gives the full closure one-on-one on the big stage. Like it culminates very nicely, and going into it, I mean, the story's obviously told. Who leaves with the final W?
Finally, Doc leaves with the final W, and finally in a clean match with no screwy ending. We just say 1v1, no interruption, and Doc beats Gator.
Oh, okay. So you basically Tommy Dreamer to his Raven. Gotcha. Way to come back there.
That was a barbed wire match.
It was a barbed wire death match. Yeah, it was a fucking good match as well.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I remember about Relentless Night 3 was leaving with a shaved head. that's why I remember TK taking my hair and my TV title. Shout out to TK. Ned, so we full circle back around to this main event, it's a main event quality match for Relentless. It's the closing chapter, if you will, like the real end of the era.
Yeah, it's kind of beautiful. Gator already lampshaded it, but just the fact that so much of this feud was built off of just chance, and yet it's so memorable, and I would argue it's very important to the identity of the Fed as a whole, even nowadays, in many ways. I think. Oh,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to step on you real quick, but anytime that you can have two characters, let's call this what it is, it's fictional writing, two people that can obviously generate enough storytelling from 5 years ago that we're talking about today. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's...
Well, I totally agree. Just... there's a bond there. There's a strength to the characters that has to exist to take, a story that far for that long, I want to say I'm trying to think here. So Doc mentioned that the initial build for the match happened for a Hall of Legends unveiling. So that would have been at XX, wouldn't it have?
No.
No? Okay. My bad.
I know that XX, they put some people in the hall. But I believe I think it is Relentless. They usually put one person in.
Okay. I think
I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. I just couldn't remember, so I was trying to see whether or not I had remembered it correctly, but that's not that's not too much. The importance is having that kind of Hall of Legends moment to build towards this, true end of an era, the actual conclusion of this feud feels poignant and fitting to me. And I guess what I would ask Doc first is, are you happy with where it ended on a personal level?
See, I don't think it's ever going to end, to be honest with you. I mean, especially everything being based off a chance, like you said. Just, not that we're going to have another match tomorrow or in another 5 years, but, for example, like my March Madness work, I included Gator a few times in a strange way, but whether that was, haunting Doc's memories or whatever the fuck I had going on there, Gator's always going to be a part of it, in a certain way. Same with Benny, same with, everybody that, is at least relevant now, just to stay relevant, I suppose. But, everybody knows who Gator is, and he was just such a big part of Doc's past that I don't think it'll ever, just end or die out. But, was I happy with the way things come full circle like it did? And could I ask for a better opponent for Relentless? No, not at all. I was definitely happy with that.
In Gator, do you feel comfortable with how everything has concluded? I'll say thus far, because never say never in wrestling.
Yeah, definitely never say never. Like I agree with Doc. Like I don't think it ever will really end. Like because again, just chance. But with the match at Relentless, with Doc, like I think kind of building up to it, I was like Gator was a bit pissed off, like, oh, where's my Hall of Legends, blah blah blah. He was like trying to play the fucking Virgil to the Ted DiBiase a bit, and yeah, and the match when it happened, it was just like just nice big moment. Like me and Doc worked on that match together as well. Doc did the better work than I did, but just the whole Gator taking his mask off in the match, and just like the small moments and stuff like that. And I think it was a really beautiful way to kind of wrap things up for now, at least. And again, like me and Doc known each other for years. He's a good friend of mine. I love him, and he's one of the best writers I've ever seen in my life. I'm always happy to face him, and anytime I need to step up because someone else can for Doc, I will do it in a heartbeat because yeah, it means that much to me. And the feud between Gator and Doc is just always going to be great, like no matter what.
I feel the same way, Crumpet.
Oh, baby.
Bobby Bourbon, let me come around to you. As we see, like not necessarily the end, quote unquote, but the end for now, as it culminated with Relentless 2020.
Well, like I said, it's the end for now. There's an ellipses at the end of the story. It hasn't wrapped up. Yes. Are there any unanswered questions left? That's really up to Doc and Gator. They don't pose any more to ponder. Right now, I couldn't imagine that, but I'm fairly certain if they put crayons to chaos and went nuts with it, they would come up with a few, and I'd be hooked all over again.
I think that it's you're doing something right when you can bring two characters like this together and tell a story like that has been told with this rivalry. I totally see the organic side of it and how beautiful the music is when that's played that way. My mind goes back to Thad and myself because it was eerily similar. We had only planned to do 2, and then we ended up doing 4, 5, 6 months. I can't remember. It just flowed that way. So how does it feel knowing that this rivalry that you guys have put together mean, it carries weight today. How does that make you feel, Doc?
Well, good, I suppose. While we're in it, I guess, just to make our mark. And like Gator said earlier, fun guy to work with. I love contributing everything, and to have something so memorable and have so much fun back then, and to think back of it, back on it this many years later is pretty cool.
Same question to you, Gator.
It makes me feel fucking weird, to be honest. Like, again, we only had 5 matches, and it's still, for some reason, people are still talking about it. And we're on a podcast talking about it. It's so strange to me, but I'm happy. Like, no matter what, I'm very happy that we've done something that's made people want to talk about it and like allude to, and yeah. And like with my rating, as if people are happy, I'm happy. So I'm really happy that this all happened and it's worked out how it's done.
Something else that's interesting to look at, like while all this is going on and this story's kind of organically being told, you have the characters like Vinnie Lane, who's making a surge with the Hart Championship and then into the uni, and you have the Morbid Angels and all these other character interactions at various points, is also a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Indeed. I mean, I had a very similar story going with Vinnie Lane too for a long time. In between my fights with Gator there, I mean, me and Vinnie only fought twice.
Yeah.
3 times.
I think that's just kind of like the magic about Doc, though, because like you said yourself, it's like kind of that looming figure in the background. It's like just everything gets pulled towards him, everything big eventually. So it's cool to see.
It's fun getting used in everybody's work. It seems even back then, a lot of people wanted to, hey, can I use you in a role play? Hey, how about a session? How about this? It's like, hell yeah, more exposure the better. And I didn't mind, it's just, back then I had my roles. Now, a little bit, not so much, but.
God damn it, you broke the rules. I mean, I pretty
you
much
can't say
that.
Damn. Come on.
This is a PJ podcast, you fuck.
Like a god? Like a goddamn?
Like a goddamn.
Can't say damn.
God damn.
God damn!
Get him out of there. Get him out
Damn!
of there.
Well, now that we have essentially, I guess we've covered the feud, we do have some questions to get to.
Sometimes you just need to build a table with the power of Christ.
So now it's time for some questions. This is one of my favorite parts of the podcast, and usually we ask them of one person. Now we're going to be asking them of 2. So let's get things started. First question is, got any questions for Gator or Doc?
Yes.
I am funny. Anyways, so the first question comes from... All right. So will Professor Ned Kaye be available? That's yet to be determined.
Can you read the full question? Because I think Doc called me a hooligan, which I don't appreciate.
Well, yeah, he'll need some assistance translating this hooligan, but I just presumed he meant me.
I should have been more specific and said soccer hooligan.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
That's fair.
Can we... All right, stop.
Everybody knows
Because
I'm a volleyball hooligan.
we're not getting into this debate again about soccer and football. I can't handle it today.
Okay. Well, too bad. We're doing it now. Then we move on to a question from Alias. Maybe Mastermind is available. Wait a minute, this is getting off the rails too quick. Is Mastermind available right now?
I'm pretty sure Alias
No,
could do a good impression of him.
probably. Hold on, we just got word. TK says it's soccer. So, yeah, that's my partner.
Well,
Um,
sorry. And tell TK to edit this episode and he can call it what he wants.
that's true. Well, now we're getting word somebody thought it was footy. Oh, geez.
Oh,
This
oh
is
no.
going. Oh,
It's off the
so
rails. It's off the rails. We done it.
besides one another, I'm going to ask this one because you guys brought somebody up. Besides one another, um, I would say that in my history, one of the characters that actually helped define my character the most was Trax. Just as a credit to him, um, Bobby Bourbon to this day is still really fixated on being a tag team champion, and that goes all the way back to him and Trax challenging for the tag team championship one time. There's some history there, and it's not to detract from TK, phenomenal partner, best partner I've had. Um, but I rode that wave. I let that mutate. My story. So besides Doc for you, Gator, or Noah, and besides Gator for you, Doc, is there another character that really helped mold or shape your careers within the XWF? Stories you wanted to tell?
Do you want to go first, Doc, or do you want me?
I'll go first. I mentioned sharing a similar story with like Vinnie Lane, and I even it wasn't the same thing either. It was like Gator. Gator is a completely different character than Vinny, so it was a completely different story. I was able to tell something different with Vinny. Like I never really haunted Gator. Every Gator interaction was like either us backstage playing Connect Four, smoking cigars, or just chilling together. So just in passing, being sarcastic with each other, or just around catering, just creating mischief for someone else, or like he said in the band. Vinny was in the band too, but just completely different, So with like Vinny, and he had Roxy, and he was a rock star, clean cut. I was able to haunt him, and he was all about it too. He in his role plays, he was haunted by Doc, so that kind of started this whole. It really expanded on what I found out I could do with my own character. I took him from. Doc did a lot of wandering around before. Like I said before, he never really drove anywhere. Never really. I did a lot of. It's been a long road for Doc. I've done a lot of character development. So for sure, Vinnie Lane, because he's opened a lot of doors for me along the way.
Gator, same question. Besides Doc, what is the character that helped, mold your character or characters? If you want to like go into depth, if there's anybody else you wanted to bring up that really helped change your story.
I mean, not to repeat Doc, but yeah, Vinny did a lot with Gator. In character, Vinny, well, I mean, he's still a good friend, obviously, but in character, Vinny and Gator were best friends. Like, legitimately best friends. Like, and we would appear in each other's role plays. He'd use my other side character, Todd, quite a lot. Shout out to Todd, he's a IC production manager or some shit now for XWF. So yeah, like me and Vinny bounced off each other a lot, and he really helped shape my story and how the character was as well. Apart from that, yeah, like maybe Luca Azagatti. Like, I love that guy and copied him so much without even realising. And I think Luca really played a big part in like Gator's story. As for other characters, really, Dick Powers. Dick Powers is 100% based on Vinnie Lane. And the reason I created Dick Powers was originally to tag team with Vinny, but then Brick Squad happened, so that got sidetracked sadly. Yeah, that's about. I think that's about it, really. Like other characters, like I've had other characters that are based on other. I had a very short-lived character called Hasta, who was very inspired by Doc, and Game Boy, Game Girl. That was just from video games that I played at the time, and yeah, nothing much really else there.
Gotcha. Well, I also, I'm going to join the bandwagon and fluff Vinny's balls a bit. He's another character that's helped mold and shape my story as well. So kudos to the man. There's a reason that he's in charge now and not allowed to play with us. All right, so we're going to move on. Charlie Nichols has some interesting questions. First up, Gator, alligators or crocodiles?
Neva? God, I'm drunk. Neither. Caimans. Caimans are the best because they're speciality hunters and got weird faces.
Okay. Doc, where precisely did Doc get his degree from? His guess is Ball State.
Well, he's no Mason, I'll tell you that.
Okay. He wants to know, this is to Gator. Will Gator ever come back, or is DP the new main?
I mean, as I said before, like never say never with Gator and Doc. I don't think Gator will ever come back for like a full run. Maybe some like special appearances there and then. But that I'm basically done with the character. I'm happy with how it ended. Dick, I wouldn't even say Dick's like a main run at the moment. Like he's just a comedy jobber on pay-per-views to do shit. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really know where either character's going and just seeing what happens.
Gotcha. He wants to know, why'd you pin him at War Games, you absolute cuckboy? That's verbatim.
No comment.
All right. And did Dick Powers' character rep used to be Austin Powers, or did he dream that?
He definitely dreamt that. I actually only figured out that Dick Powers is an Austin Powers reference like the other week. I didn't even mean for that to happen. I was thinking more of Max Powers from The Simpsons.
Gotcha. All right, Doc, back to you. Charlie would like to know, could you ever see yourself giving a go for a run with one of the mid-card belts, like the TV or the Heart, etc.?
Well, I'll entertain almost any opportunity if it presents itself. Will I ever chase one? I don't think that's very likely, but I really don't put myself out there enough to really be granted an opportunity anyway. Any type of contention. I kind of stick to either being asked to come into a match or wait for some big stuff, or, I don't typically just opt in to opt in. So that kind of keeps me out of like a contention match or anything unless I'm asked, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But if I was in one, I wouldn't turn it down. But I'm not really chasing one either.
All right. The next question is, okay, Charlie was high. Have you ever in your long-legged life seen a long-legged woman turn into a long-legged wife? What drugs was Charlie on?
I don't know. I read that too, but there's some light shined on that in Doc's past and everything in my March Madness series.
All right. When are you going to give Doc a girlfriend in a nurse's outfit?
Isn't Doc eye candy enough?
Exactly.
First thing I ever really had to female sidekick was,
I mean, yeah,
I don't know.
that one glass eye and a cobweb tattoo on the back of his head. Whew.
Long lankiness. The closest thing I really had to like a female sidekick, well, because I used her a lot in my role plays back in March, was Dolly Waters. But I think I'd rather see her handler in a nurse outfit than Chloe. So.
All right. This one comes from none other than the Heart Champion, Thaddeus H. Duke. And I just gave him a middle initial. You're welcome. Gator.
For Hugo.
Yep. We'll go with that. Gator. Oh, God. How big is that dick?
Dick Powers stands at around 6'2".
Thank you. Mark, heart you. Just keep killing it. Question mark? That's not okay. Then we're gonna. Okay, my phone just did a flip, so let's keep rolling into. We got something from the North Korean war criminal at Gator, longtime fan. Lol. Your work as Gator has always been hilarious. What is it like to be a comedy writer facing off against more serious writers? Does it feel better or worse than writing against another person who writes their character in a humorous way? How would you say you've developed, or what lessons have you learned over your tenure here?
That's a fucking great question. First off, shout out NK and Matt Flynn. Love you both. You're my heroes.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, everyone knows now.
Oh, I know, but still.
Okay. Well, I might edit that out then.
No, don't.
No, so I mean, going as a comedy writer, going up against serious people, I think it's a lot easier and a lot more fun because comedy, like inherently, it's always better with a funny guy and a straight man. So if you can go up against a serious character, it's much easier to bounce off against stuff. But as a comedy character, you've always got a good defense. If a serious character comes up against you and be like, "You're shit, you just lost your other match," and as a comedy character, it's like, "Yeah, I fucking lost that match well hard, didn't I? That was funny." You always got a good bounce back, a good defense for it. If you're going against another comedy character, it can be either amazing or really hard. It depends who you're working with. Because it's either going to go two ways. You're either both going to try and tell better jokes to try and steal the spotlight from one another, or you're going to work well with each other and just kind of mesh in that way that really makes it the entire thing funny instead of an individual IP funny. Like, talk about Matt Flynn before, like, some of the best stuff I think I've wrote, and I know what Vinny Lane has said, some of the best stuff he's seen, is when Gator was pinning Matt Flynn when he was Extreme Champion. And we basically made a TV show around it about Gator trying to pin Flynn. And we just both bounced off each other so well that it became really, really funny to read. And yeah, that's it. So like, it's much easier to go against a straight person. If you're going against a comedy character, it can be a bit more difficult, but can always work out a lot better. And as for your like advice and like stuff in my tenure, it's like, I have no idea. Just write what you want to write, and if you're happy with it, you're happy with it. If it's comedy, like, the only advice I can give to like people writing comedy stuff is don't make every single sentence a punchline because it never fucking works. Go beat for beat. You go like set up, punchline, misdirection, set up, punchline, and that's it.
Sure, thank you. And well, before we move on to the question that War Criminal has for Doc, I noticed I had a question. Ned, are you still there?
Indeed, I am.
All right, it's now your turn to tickle Vinny's balls.
Okay, so you want me to ask the question?
No, I want you to tickle Vinny's balls, and then I'm going to go back to asking questions.
Okay, well, I would be slurping more, but, you know, I'm just not by the boss's desk right now. All I want to say is, unironically, you know, without a hint of sarcasm or joking, Vinny is something fucking else. Because even though I don't interact with him like a whole lot, and I haven't had a ton of just, you know, a ton of the same rub because he was largely an authority figure and, you know, more involved with the running of the Fed when I came around. He even worked, you know, during that like fourth or fifth match of mine when Robert challenged me. He worked to just, you know, make the Ned Kaye character a little more interesting, just to add a little more in there. He's pushed for me to be on Anarchy, you know, he really gets what makes characters work. And I think that's what makes him such a great owner of the Fed, is that he's a legitimate fan of all of the wrestlers and the writers here. And that's some beautiful shit, man.
I'm sorry, Ned. The answer we were looking for was go fuck yourself, Bobby, and keep interviewing Doc and Gator.
Hey, Bobby. Hey, Bobby.
Yeah.
All right.
God damn.
Okay, now just to counteract that a little bit, me and Doc have known Vinny for 7 years, and I think we can both say in full confidence he's a complete cunt.
He is a cunt.
This is getting cut from the recording. This is getting edited out, right?
No!
Fuck no.
No, of course not. Are you fucking retarded?
No, I was hoping you'd say yes. We were gonna go yes, and we were gonna improv. I was gonna start talking shit.
Oh, yes, and.
Yes, and. Yeah, fuck that guy.
All right. Doc, War Criminal would like to know, how are you so good? How do I get good? Please reply quickly. I have matches coming up. Thanks. And the more serious question incoming. You and Alias are his two favorite medium-defying writers on the site, utilizing HTML and changing the background and utilizing presentational elements that blow his mind. How does that factor into your writing? Do you think of the scene and then how to present it in an innovative, eye-catching way? Or are you thinking of new style stuff first and then figuring out the most creative way to use it in your stories?
Well, first, that fellow doesn't need any advice from me. He's a king. As for the more serious question, everything I do as far as coding, placement, backgrounds, music, especially music, it all plays a huge part in my stories. As for what comes first, it always depends. I could hear a song that inspires a scene. I could have a scene in my head that I pull, I'm like, oh, this song will work good for that. So it could be either way. The idea for the code and the funny ways I build the promo with the HTML and everything like that, it depends on the idea behind it too. Like if I'm, describing a dark scene, I'm going to, have dark images. I'm going to have dark fonts. I'm going to have, try to get that feel, dark music. And I always try to make the readers do more than just read them. I want you to feel them. I want you to be there. And even when I write the stories, I try to do the same thing. The way I describe everything, I try to pull everybody in so that you're not just, you're seeing it more than just reading it.
Can I just actually add on and ask a question about that? Like this is a question to everybody here right now. Like, how many of you actually read RPs with the music that they put on?
Do.
Like, nobody does it, and I think that's such a missed opportunity. Because
I do.
Yeah, I do
I
as
do
well.
sometimes out of 10.
Because I don't think many people do, and it's like it's like a lot of the time, like people just put music in, but I know I do it, and I know Doc definitely does it, and then there's a lot of other people do it. Like the music enhances the RP.
Yeah. As I'm writing, I'm either listening to that song or that part of the song. 'Cause, like if I'm doing it, or I always check out somebody else's.
Yeah.
I have to really hate the fucking song to turn it off. You know what I mean? I'll turn it down low and I'll read the RP, and I don't believe I'm the only one that does it either. I know a lot of people that, as they're writing, they feel the song and it matches their role play and they use it, and like you said, it's a hidden gem that not a lot of people see.
Exactly. And just to carry on to that, fuck you, Alias. Okay, carry on.
Well, I was about to say, the reason that I like listening to the music is, one of it's hard for me to pin down my favorite of anything. It's easier for me to just tell you my top 5 because sometimes it rotates. It really depends on my mood. one of my top 5 films of all time is Goodfellas.
Love that film.
And Goodfellas, it's a music video. Like the whole thing, like that, the soundtrack to Goodfellas is what makes it such a great movie, you know? Like, and just where certain songs are placed within the storytelling and the narrative of that. I think is absolutely brilliant. When I see music being used in role plays, I feel that most of us are trying to accomplish something very similar, where it's almost like the song itself isn't just there in the backdrop. It's another facet. It's almost a character unto itself. It's helping the narrative move along. It's really setting a tone for what somebody wants to accomplish. Now, like Doc, if there is a song playing and it's absolutely loathsome, and I'm not going to give an example because then I know my next opponent's just going to pick like that genre of music or something like that, just to like, this is great, isn't it? And I'm like, I'm just pausing it now and reading your stuff, But yeah, okay, I'll go. It's Japanese baby metal. I don't like Japanese baby metal.
You're missing out.
I know I'm probably missing out, but it's just
No, I do get it as well. Because like a lot
it's not bad. It's just baffling to me. Like I hear it, it's like all right, heavy metal, and then it's like super adorable, cute voices. Like what is going on? Like I just wind up like I get a nosebleed every time I listen to it. I don't know what's going on. So we'll go on
Bobby
to
experienced vertigo while listening to baby metal.
yeah.
yes.
I mean, all it's doing is giving me an idea next time I go against Robbie. Just put baby metal in there and I'll like confuse his brain enough that he doesn't trash
That's what
talk me.
I just brought that up. Like as soon as I brought up a music type that I didn't like, somebody was going to be like, every role play I read that's against me from now until eternity is going to have Japanese baby metal in it. But maybe that's all according to plan. Anyways,
Nice.
Corey.
I'm sorry, that was a really good reference. Well done. Carry on.
So move on to Corey, and Corey would like to know first. I'm going to switch things up because for some reason everybody decided Gator gets the first question in every instance. So this time, Doc, we're going to lead with you.
I figured out why that happened. It's because Doc was waxing Gator's ass throughout that feud.
I was going to be nice about it and thought they were saving the best till last, actually.
I thought it was because I was already on the podcast and they already asked me questions.
All right, yeah, my podcast episode is never coming out, so it's fine.
This is the Gator Podcast .5. We'll get to the
prequel.
We'll get to I don't know. So first, we'll just lead off with the Doc question, anyways. So you've pretty much done it all here. What keeps you motivated now?
Well, I've hardly done it all. I've just been around a long time. I'm not really sure what keeps me motivated. I've written for Doc for 7 years, 8 years. And as soon as I feel like I'm running out of ideas, another one pops up. I either work with somebody or I watch a movie or I just something makes me miss doing what I do here. The diversity of characters in the Fed always keeps things interesting. And I said it before, the community itself these days is like it's never been, and it's easy just to be part of something. It's what brought me to the Fed to begin with, just seeing how much interaction goes on the boards, and we're back to that again. And I just find it hard to step away because the second I do, I miss doing it, and I wish I was on the next card.
Okay, and then we're going to go ahead up to Gator's question. Noah Jackson is one of the few characters on the site that legit made Corey Smith laugh out loud. When is he coming back?
Well, as a full-time RP schedule, maybe never. I don't know, but you will be seeing him soon in some form.
Excellent. All right, then we go into Mr. Fluffy Balls himself. Vinny has a few questions. So, Gator, would you consider yourself a Breton, an Anglo, or a Saxon? Also, are you willing to travel to his ancestral home in Nottingham for him?
I would consider myself a sick cunt, and no.
Okay. And Doc, Joe Jorgensen? Really?
Now, does the owner of this fine federation really want to poison this conversation with politics?
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, the ball fluffing can go on so long, but we've got to realise that Vinny Lane is the worst person to ever...
Cunt.
Yeah,
He's a cunt.
Cunt, a proper cunt.
A cunt.
Proper cunt.
See, we can't use that lingo here in the States. Like, I think, what's the American equivalent of a British...
Twat. You say twat
No,
weird.
Twat is too big too. Like any of the pussy related, you know.
You say why do you say it like that? Why do you say twat? It's not got an O in it.
Twat.
Twat. You fucking twat.
You fucking twat. No, the point is, in Britain, calling people, you know, more dick related insults, like, you know, profanity.
How
that's
do you,
a little
wait,
more.
whoa, shut the fuck up. How do you know? Have you ever been to Britain?
fucking
Shut the
knob.
fuck up, Ned. You're from Texas. Shut
Fuck
up,
you.
lad. Fuck you, you
You.
cunt.
Fuck you, you fucking twat.
It's the American equivalent douchebag.
I think so.
That sucks. You're shit. Carry on, Robbie.
Okay, actually, now that we're actually... I got to ask. Have you ever called somebody a plonker?
A plonker. A plonker's a very... it's more of a southern thing and a very nice way of saying bastard. I'm from up north, so we don't really say plonker very much.
Gotcha. It's good to know what bastard is in translation. I'm using that. So, let's go to Dolly Waters. Dolly was in the chat earlier. Is Dolly still here? Does Dolly want to ask the questions? Dolly want a cracker?
I've read Dolly's questions. I don't want to ask the questions at all. I'd rather you just skip them.
That's fair. And I will. Ned, you ask him.
You motherfucking Bobby Bourbon. I love the first, you know, when I first came on this podcast, Bobby was all like, yeah, man, you're doing good, you know, and now that I'm returning to the podcast, he's like, oh yeah, go fuck yourself. You did it wrong, Ned. Read these fucking questions I can't be bothered with.
Oh no,
Anyway.
you're a part of the group now. We're busting your balls.
Oh, I know. I'm just giving you shit too. I'm just being a prima donna. That's what I do. That's my gimmick now.
I just thought that was a real thing. I'm sorry.
No. No, I promise. I'm just an annoying cunt. I'm not an annoying cunt with an ego yet.
Bully Ned Kaye 2022.
You were doing it the past 2 years anyway.
I know, yeah, you gotta keep it going. Come on, Cook. Come on.
Dolly Waters asks, 1 second here.
She didn't ask that.
No, god damn it.
Are we off the rails now? Are we actually officially off the rails?
No, we're not there yet.
Not there yet? Okay, let's keep going.
We're approaching, but we're not there yet.
Oh, God.
Bobby Bourbon. Anyway, Gator. Dolly Waters asks, is the concept of you continuous, or does past you continually fade into present and future you? In other words, what part of you sticks around over time, considering that the atoms that make up your body are constantly being replaced, and your memories are always changing?
Yes.
I agree.
I think the better question is, when did Dolly Waters become Dolly Watts? Nobody's gonna get my highbrow reference. Anyway,
I am leaving. Alright, so I am leaving that silence in. I am extending it by 12 seconds.
please do.
I am
Extend it
leaving
by
that in.
12 hours.
Should I put some cricket sounds into it as well? Or
Yep.
yeah,
I think
the
yes,
sound
but
of
you could put the
tumble.
sport cricket sounds, like just play-by-play announcers talking about somebody hitting a sticky wicket.
what? I'm
You
English
need
and I
to-
don't get that reference.
You need to put like the sound of howling wind in the background.
Howling wind. Alright, howling wind, crickets, and then put a video of a tumbleweed across it. Future me,
Okay.
edit that in.
All right, future Gator, go fuck yourself. Anyway, so
Rude.
Doc, Doc,
Yes.
Doc. Dolly Waters asks, as more and more is being discovered about quantum physics, we become less and less able to comprehend the nature of reality. Is this something temporary and our minds will adapt and begin to understand this new reality? Or is it possible that the human mind will soon reach its limits of comprehension? If it's only temporary, is there a limit to what the human mind can comprehend? If we are reaching our limits, how do we continue to study our reality?
I'm really glad Dolly asked this.
Not to cut you off before you answer, I just want to say to Dolly, I miss drugs.
Oh,
May I continue?
Yeah,
Please.
sorry.
All right, thank you.
Doc's really serious about this.
Okay, there are more.
It's like, oh no, sorry, we're having a joke here, and Doc's just like, excuse me, I need to answer the fucking question, guys. Come on.
Okay.
What was the question again, Ned?
Now we're off the rails. we have made it.
Let's re-rail this bastard.
Vinny,
Let's re-rail
play
this.
us out.
Gator
Ah,
is the mutant twin brother of James
Oh, wait a
Raven
minute.
under the mask.
what the fuck? Wait a minute. Doc didn't even answer. What the fuck are you doing, Ned? Come on, man.
I didn't think Doc was gonna answer. I thought you were all fucking with me.
You're meant to be special guest co-host. You don't even let the guy answer. What the fuck are you doing?
Holy fuck.
I legitimately thought both of you were just gonna skip the fucking questions because they were so mind-bendingly. I apologize. I thought it was being skipped.
Doc,
Yeah,
I
Ned,
am.
it's your fault,
Jesus
not mine.
Christ. Doc, I am so
Alright,
offended for you. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
Jesus Christ.
Goddamn amateurs.
Wow.
Go ahead, Ned. Go ahead. Read the question, please.
Okay. As more and more.
This is
being
boring. Let's skip it. Okay, next question.
Okay.
No, I actually have an answer for this.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Let me ask it once more.
One more time.
As more and more is being discovered about quantum physics, we become less and less able to comprehend the nature of reality. Is this something temporary and our minds will adapt and begin to understand this new reality? Or is it possible that the human mind will soon reach its limits of comprehension? If it's only temporary, is there a limit to what the human mind can comprehend? If we are reaching our limits, how do we continue to study our reality?
Again, I am really glad Dolly asked this question. Thank you, Ned. If you think back thousands of years ago, first philosophers that studied pretty much anything, even the smartest folks, seem to have a maxed out level of comprehension. You can only blame that on the tools and technology they had at their disposal at the time. Say there was a ceiling to human mind, it's been disproved time and time again over the centuries. Human evolution alone has proven that. Caveman was hungry, he found a way to eat. If you give him a stick, he might not use his hands, he might use a stick. If you give him a fire, he's going to cook with the fire. If he cooks, he might start getting flavor. If he cooks with flavor, he might make gourmet. Comprehension could also be yielded by ignorance. Again, think back hundreds or even thousands of years ago when the first scientists brought forth studies that countered religion. Politicians and rulers didn't want anything to do with it because it was something that could negate their power of the people. Medicine and astronomy were forbidden, and people were burned for even studying that. Back then, the possibility to explore anything was just completely crazy. To think a vial contained with a liquid could possibly cure an ailment, or without prayer, was unthinkable. Now we have cures and vaccines for diseases that before wiped out civilizations, and it's only been proven recently that you only need enough money. You can have enough money to visit space. So, as in the dark as we seem right now with quantum physics, I don't think there's really a limit to the mind. I don't believe that we'll be left in the dark for too much longer. Thank you.
We love you. You are like that was. I've been trying to be a jackass the entire time, and that was like the most profound statement we have ever had on the podcast.
I feel like I need to get a joint after that.
I feel like
I'm really glad I didn't almost ruin that moment with my incompetence.
You almost did, Ned.
You almost did, yeah.
You almost fucking did.
Gator, we need to edit in a slow clap after that speech.
Mate, honestly, if I start editing this and listen to it again, I think I might just ascend. Like, that was amazing. Doc.
It was beautiful.
Wow. Alright, I did it in slow cap, and oh my god, I'm so drunk.
Edit in the clap from Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh, congratulations. Congratulations. Yeah, I'll do that.
Anyway.
Okay.
I feel so bad because Alias was like, why is Ned even on here? And now I just feel like a dipshit.
Oh,
anyway.
We'll make up for it, Ned.
Yeah.
Make the puck. That's not how we work around here.
Anyway.
You chill the fuck out, man. You're giving me fucking anxiety.
I'm gonna get it? Fucking hell. Anyway.
You're giving me anxiety.
Oh, sorry.
So he apologized for it. Did you hear him?
Oh my god. The train is derailed.
Gator.
Yeah.
Question for you. Is Gator the mutant twin brother of James Raven under his mask?
Yes.
Okay. Is Gator more into rom-com or the artsy romance stuff?
More the artsy romance stuff, yeah, 100%. There's a beautiful Russian film that I can't remember the name of that made Gator cry a lot. Mm-hmm. I don't know what I'm answering now. After the fucking Doc's question and answer, I'm just so inferior right now. Like, there's nothing I can do. I'm just kind of just... Don't beat me on a podcast.
The feud continued, and you lost again, buddy boy.
What do I do here? Like, I can't even think about being funny because I'm thinking about the universe right now.
One day I'm gonna take Doc to get some coffee, and I'm just gonna lose all my faith in humanity, and then regain it in the span of 6 minutes. So, Doc, if Dr. DeVille were to write a book or a short story, what genre is he writing?
There's more to that question, right?
There is. I was just gonna give you the first part and then ask the second once you're...
Ned, you fucked up again.
Very well.
Seriously.
No, it's alright. That was my fault.
No, that wasn't your fault at all. No. Ned.
I did the same towards you!
Like, Ned, honestly, Jesus fucking Christ. When you get a question, you fucking read the question out in its entirety. You don't wait halfway. What are you even doing, Ned?
If
Honestly.
I wanted to get bullied like this, I would just go home to my ex-girlfriend. Come on.
Oh, oh God.
That shit can be arranged.
Oh, oh, Daddy Page. No. Anyway. I'll reread the whole thing this time.
Very well.
If Dr. DeVille were to write a book or a short story, what genre is he writing? Why would he kill the main character, Vinnie Lane, off in the end?
Well, if Doc were to write a book, I'd imagine it'd be an anthology of all the haunts and stories, scares that he's already experienced, his memoirs. And that actually already exists. But unfortunately, the book ceased production in 2019 when Jefferson Jackson sold the XWF publication company to the Hachette Book Group, which is actually owned by Disney. And yeah, it was just discontinued by then. But he would die in the end because he had to in order to save the day. He's not a Prince Charming type hero like he appears. I did air quotes. He's more of a Bruce Willis type hero. He would sacrifice himself, save as much as like an entire planet or as little as an orphan.
All right, and this last question is for both of you. Theo Price has had enough of Doc and Gator tormenting Mastermind. He's exiled the two of them to a secluded island off the northern coast of Greenland for all of eternity. The waters are freezing and infested with vicious sharks. There is no escape. But Theo is a kind and generous supreme leader. He has granted each of them 3 things to bring. One XWF character. Could be for coitus, could be for comedy, could be for a food source. Mastermind is not an option. One current Xbox store item. And then one copy of The Passion of the Christ on VHS, bootleg starring Chronic Chris Page, or the Very Hungry Caterpillar book, bootleg written by Ned Kaye.
Okay. Are we
It's
answering?
a lot to digest.
That
with
is a
this question.
lot. All right, so
It's true.
me and Doc are both like stranded on this island. Are we deciding who we take with us together?
I think we're on separate islands.
On separate islands, okay.
I think so.
Would you like to go
Yeah, so
first, or would you like me to?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I actually have 3 different options here, just 3 different scenarios. My first is Bobby Bourbon, because I would use Bobby Bourbon's smarts and ingenuity to together we could be able to build something to fly off that fucking island. My second was Theo Price, because if I'm going to spend eternity somewhere, I'll need him around to always have a better idea than me, so we'll essentially have all the best stuff. Or Jamaican Jimmy, because he knows how to roll. And unfortunately for him, I don't think he'd survive too long outside his own ecosystem.
Jamaican Jimmy is also a horrible racist, though, as well.
Right. But what does he hate? Ornery white old man? I don't know. My XWF item would be the Gator Jammies, without a doubt. And if I were to take Robbie Bourbon with me on this island, I would take the Hungry Caterpillar, because I just think I'd really enjoy him reading it to me. If it was Theo, I would take the Passion of the Christ, because I'd play that motherfucker until the tape wore out, because I'm sure it'd annoy the fuck out of him. And if it was Jamaican Jimmy, I would take the book for obvious reasons.
Okay.
Doc, I'm gonna say this: if Bobby Bourbon and Doc are on an island and they have to escape a desert island, then the first thought that came into mind is a hot air balloon made out of a whale. Again, I miss drugs.
Yeah.
I could picture that.
Yeah, that's a good. Like, I do drugs like on the regular now, and that still blew my mind a bit. Oh shit! Should I ask the question now?
Right now, and
Yeah,
it blew my mind.
Oh goddamn. What was the question?
You're on a secluded island, right?
Yeah.
Theo Price has exiled you to this island because you were fucking with Mastermind, and you get 3 things to keep with you: 1 XWF character, 1 current Xbox store item, and then you get a Passion of the Christ VHS bootleg that stars CCP, or a Very Hungry Caterpillar book bootleg written by yours truly.
For XWF character, I like also the idea of Robbie Bourbon, although me and Doc think very differently. So I would cut Robbie Bourbon up like a tauntaun and sleep inside of him.
You think you smell bad on the outside?
Hey!
Okay.
Other personal take with me, I don't know, can I take... That'd be fun. And...
Who?
No, nothing, no, shut up. Nothing.
Yeah, no, I heard him. I'm just electing not to
Yeah, no,
jump
yeah.
on his nuts right now.
Yeah. Trying to think who else. Probably me and Vinny would have a lot of fun on a desert island together. He'll make fun of me being English, and I'll make fun of him being an awful human being. So that'd be funny. XUF item. Mastermind's chair isn't on the Xbox store, isn't it? Just to fuck with him. It's just his t-shirts.
I think it's on there. I think there's a Mastermind shirt on there.
And Mastermind shirt's on there, but he's got loads of them. He's got one for every character in the Fed, so that doesn't matter. DeVille's book might be nice. You know, just some company to read with. I'll take that.
I'm totally shocked.
Vinny's vapes, maybe, as well. Just because I'm a smoker, and it might help. And... See... The Jesus Christ, like the Passion of Christ is very close to my heart due to the dining table scene, but the rest of the movie is absolute garbage. And also, how would I play the VHS on a desert island? There's no TV there. Like, Dylan, you're a fucking idiot for asking this question. Fuck yourself. And
Yeah, you weren't being clever.
and The Hungry Caterpillar written by Ned Kaye means I have to read something written by Ned Kaye, which is something I never like doing. But I'm going to have to go with it because there's no other option there.
That's pretty fair. And you know what? Just because I found a PDF of The Very Hungry Caterpillar, the original by Eric Carle, but I'm going to do the version written by Ned Kaye.
Oh my god.
The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Ned Kaye. In the light of the moon.
I forgot to format it.
That's okay.
That's
I can still read it.
well done. That was such a good joke.
That was good.
That was really
Good job. That was very good self-deprecating humor. It's about time. In the light of the moon, a little egg lay on a leaf. One Sunday morning, the warm sun came up and pop! Out of the egg came a tiny and very hungry caterpillar. He started to look for some food. On Monday, he ate through 1 apple, but he was still hungry. On Tuesday, he ate through 2 pears, but he was still hungry. On Wednesday, he ate through 3 plums, but he was still hungry. On Thursday, he ate through 4 strawberries, but he was still hungry. On Friday, he ate through 5 oranges, but he was still hungry. On Saturday, he ate through 1 piece of chocolate cake, 1 ice cream cone, 1 pickle, 1 slice of Swiss cheese, and 1 slice of salami. 1 lollipop, 1 piece of cherry pie, 1 sausage, 1 cupcake, and 1 slice of watermelon. That night he had a stomachache. The next day was Sunday again. The caterpillar ate through 1 nice green leaf, and after that he felt much better. Now he wasn't hungry anymore, and he wasn't a little caterpillar anymore. He was a big, fat caterpillar. He built a small house called a cocoon around himself. He stayed inside for more than 2 weeks. Then he nibbled a hole in the cocoon, pushed his way out, and he had an existential crisis.
See, I thought you were going to go up to Sunday and then go, and on Sunday, he got pinned by Mark.
Yeah, that honestly, like, I thought, like, at the end it was going to be like, and then finally he ate a pin. the very hungry caterpillar.
Yeah, that was again way better.
There we go. That's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, well done, Robin. That was beautiful.
That was beautiful.
That was great. Mastermind is somewhere weeping at the storytelling.
I think he's weeping just because we spoiled it for him.
Oh, that we ain't beating that.
If I may, well, I know we're all rowdy and we're rounding down, winding down, I should say. What the fuck do I mean rounding?
Shut the fuck up, Ned.
I'm doing
math,
God
Ned.
damn
Jesus
it.
Christ.
I'd like to ask a question. So,
Damn it! Didn't we just do this?
no, I was hoping to ask a question to them because I was not able to, and Bobby had a really good question for both of them.
All right, go ahead then.
Okay.
You don't need my permission, just fucking do it.
Okay.
Yeah, Ned. Jesus fucking Christ, come on.
They
Yeah,
built the dining room goddamn table.
God damn it. Jesus.
Supposed to be the goddamn co-host, not the fucking guest.
Yeah, you dickhead.
Ugh, God. I'm not used to being in the matches and on the podcast. Holy shit.
Will you ask your goddamn question?
Yeah, I will. Sorry, fucking hell. Okay, so starting with Gator, we talked a lot about your feud. We obviously spotlighted your feud with Doc here, but I'm curious to hear if there's any other feud that Doc has had that sticks out in your mind that you remember fondly.
No, I'm joking. Sorry. Yeah, again, just the Lane stuff, really. Doc and Lane had a beautiful thing together as well. And Doc and Soldier, they were a tag team for a long time. That ended kind of badly. That's another thing that kind of sticks in my mind. But apart from that, no, not really. Doc's just always been a presence, and he does what he likes, and he likes what he does. That makes no fucking sense. Why did I say that?
It's because it's chim chimney, chim chiroo.
Are you fucking Mary Poppins me, motherfucker? Are you serious right now? You fucking horrible racist. How dare you?
What? Okay, Doc. In the same vein, what is a Gator feud that sticks out in your mind that you remember fondly?
I don't so much remember too many Gator feuds because Gator was involved with a lot. Like I said back in the day, the interaction on the boards was great between extreme title pins and just plain old interactions, picking a fight, all them threads and everything like that. I could say a different chapter, other than what we had was whenever he was with Kyle and Justin Sane. What was the name?
Defiance.
At Defiance. I mean, you guys are a big part of we still had the trios division back then. Can't remember who the champs. You guys had the titles there for a minute.
We didn't. I don't think we have the trios. If I remember correctly, they got retired with Three Kings, with Madison, Price, and Samuels, I think.
But regardless, like I said, you just you had that TV title. You just being the champ, having that title for so damn long, you fought everybody. It wasn't you didn't have a feud and fought the same guy over and over again. It was
Well,
Here we go.
me and Aerial Knight had like a fucking best of 300.
I forgot about. Didn't you beat him like 20 times?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Aerial Knight. You had it after the Kings. Nope, not my Kings. Yeah, it was before I had him. It was Theo, Samuels, and John. Joe go. Oh yeah, that's who you beat. You beat the Kings for him. Yeah, that was a while ago.
I can't even.
Memory lane.
2015.
Damn. Long time. I honestly can't remember anything now. I'm so drunk.
Well, listen, guys. This is gonna tie a bow on this.
Alrighty.
On this episode. And Bobby, you got any parting shots?
Well, again, it was great having you guys on here. It's always a good time having both of you and talking with both of you. I read The Very Hungry Caterpillar. I had to go get myself some food. I should have been in bed like hours ago, but thank you.
Ned Kaye, any parting shots?
I just want to say I've loved having the guests on because I always love talking to them, and I love being on the podcast, even if you guys beat the shit out of me sometimes. But I love
we only do it because we expect better of you.
Was I that bad? Holy fuck! I'm sorry, Jesus.
Well, we only kick you because you're already down.
Thanks, Doc. I just want to say also thanks to Bobby because I loved his questions, and of course, I'm having an existential crisis right now, so I think it's very true to form.
Gator, Doc, man, I appreciate you guys coming on and reminiscing about some old times. Obviously, your story is one that has continued to kind of evolve over the years. It's good to sit back and chat and really kind of get into your perspectives of it.
Yeah, it's just part of the game that makes it fun.
Indeed, it does. Well, guys, man, we appreciate it. Gator, Doc, you guys got anything to say to everybody on the way out?
Glad everybody could make it. Really enjoyed myself. Glad we could finally get this one not so much out of the way, but in, because I've been looking forward to it.
Well, I'm just glad Gator showed up for this one.
Yeah, me too. And I'm really happy to be here without a migraine and asleep. Always love being on a podcast. Ned, even though we bully you relentlessly, I love you so much, and you're the best about it. Robbie, always hilarious. Paige, you're okay.
Yeah, try.
Like me and Dot knowing each other for years, absolutely love the guy. So happy to be on a podcast with him to talk about bullshit from the past. So, yeah, no, thank you all for having us.
Thank you.
I guess there's only one thing left to do, and that's Benny, man, take us out.
Balls fluff.
From now, tomorrow, and forever. Fuck you, Ghost Tank.
Thanks for listening to the XWF podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the XWF YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at XWF1999. And don't forget to check us out at XWF99.com. Be sure to join us next time where the action never slows down.